Patch 11.14. Hello, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, come say hi on Twitch, and everyone on Twitch, go sub to my YouTube. Hi. I'm just gonna give my thoughts real quick. We're not gonna spend too much time on this, but I'm gonna skim through rather all these notes and find the most interesting stuff to talk about. But Akali is being mechanically destroyed again because they can't find any other way to balance this champ other than removing mechanics from her. So she can't cast Q while dashing E, which I think is a massive nerf. Like, that just completely removes one of her fastest combos to burst people. And her R-based recast damage has been decreased, so she's just been given nerfs all around, which is like rough. Kind of sucks for Kali players. Yo, how's it going, Mixie? So I think it's just a straight up nerf. I don't think there's anything good about this change for Akali at all. It kind of sucks for her. It's really big nerf as well. Mainly the Q not being able to cast weight while you're Eing. That's pretty brutal. Darius. They have increased Darius's damage and they have decreased his E cooldown. I think it's just, yeah, I mean, he was relying really heavily on Stridebreaker's dash to actually like play the game. But that passive bonus damage kind of seems, I mean, seems pretty strong. You're getting extra 10 like max stacks, or rather max AD when you hit max stacks. That's kind of insane. But cool. Okay, he gets a buff. Maybe we'll see Darius with the new Stridebreaker. We'll see. Dr. Mundo. They're buffing Mundo's attack speed. They're buffing his. They're changing his health regen to scaling with level. So this changes with level, and then they're, I believe they're nerfing the cooldown. It looks like they're nerfing it. Yeah, it's just a nerf. Okay. So, and now it actually heals for 100% of the health cost if it hits a monster. So I guess they were trying to maybe push him into jungle, or at least let him jungle, so you don't like kill yourself with your Q in jungle. And then E, small monsters are immediately sent flying away. Cool. I don't know how that affects his jungle, but he gets extra bonus damage on his E. So maybe they want to open up the options for Mundo jungle. Cool. Garen, buffing his Q move speed, and they're buffing the R damage. Awesome. Cool. It's Garen. Who cares? I mean, he might be seen in certain matchups, very specific matchups, but I don't think I'm going to see him a lot in my Hilo. Graves has been given 2 bonus AD. That's actually a pretty big deal for Graves. So I mean, cool. Like Graves's base AD matters a lot for this champ, so it is a big deal that they give him 2 base AD. Is it going to make him come back into the meta only? I don't know. Maybe people will start trying him again, because I don't think Graves is that bad right now. But cool, I guess. Graves gets 2 bonus AD. I kind of don't like playing against lots of Graves, because the Graves jungle meta was really boring. Like, he would just power farm. That was just his style. He would just like one-shot camps and then try and find other camps to one-shot in enemy jungle. Illaoi has been given 10 extra move speed, which is ridiculous. Like, what? 10 extra move speed is nuts, man. So yeah, that seems kind of crazy. That's actually a huge deal. I don't know if it'll make her like popular, because she's got some really good matchups and some really bad matchups, but that's seems like a big change to me. Anyway, Aurelia, there's so many numbers here. The amount of text here is making me anxious. So let's just read the summary, and then I'll look at the relevant stuff. They have massively nerfed her health and her magic resist, but they've increased her health growth, so she's going to scale a little harder. They've decreased her passive max stacks from 5 to 4, which actually is somewhat of a buff. But then they've sort of changed the attack speed per stack. But I actually think that reducing the stacks in general, even if they slightly early game nerf how much attack speed you get per stack, on average isn't terrible, because she wants to hit max stacks ASAP. Because when she's on max stacks, doesn't she get some bonuses, stuff like that? I'm not 100% sure. Or maybe it's only her attack speed. Maybe I'm thinking of older Aurelia, but it does seem like late game, like later levels, level 13, she actually gets more attack speed now. So, or rather the same. It should be the same, shouldn't it? No, it's decreased early, increased later. That's it. Fair enough. Empowered damage has been decreased. So they've just nerfed her max stacks. All right, Pepe hands, but it does scale slightly better, which is cool. Q, they've given her less dash speed. Interesting. Maybe it'll be easier for me to land combos on her. Pog. And they have nerfed the bonus damage to minions. I think it looks like a nerf. Well, it scales with champ level, so I don't know the maths behind it. Okay. They've made her W scale 40 to 80 physical damage, and it actually gives magic damage reduction now, which is a big deal. That might actually allow her to be played in certain AP matchups. That is a really big deal. Really big deal. They're giving her back the damage reduction for magic damage. That's kind of interesting. So this has a flat travel time now. E can no longer be recast while affected by crowd control. Oh, okay. I didn't know you could even do that, but that's cool. And then R, Vanguard Edge now reduces Blade Surge's cooldown by 0.5, 1.5 to 2.5 seconds before ability haste. So you can Q more if you are people. Awesome, I guess. Ivern. Do I know what this is going to do to Aurelia? I actually think she might be picked or experimented with in AP matchups now because she has actual magic damage reduction, which is kind of big. What have they done to Ivern's shield? They just buffed Ivern's shield. All right, cool. I mean, not much else to talk about. Ivern is already in a decent spot, so we might see. There's like 2 Ivern 1-tricks in Halo as well who play him pretty well, so these guys are going to be pretty happy about that. Karma has been nerfed slightly. Her attack damage has been reduced, which is good because her auto attacks in lane are actually kind of strong and annoying as hell. Lilia, oh my gosh, they've written another novel. They've decreased her base health regen. They've increased her armor. They've increased her passive damage. It now heals. Wait, her passive heals? Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, so they've given her sustain. That's kind of interesting. They've given her sustain. They've increased the mana cost of her Q. They've decreased the max stacks to 4. They've decreased the bonus move speed, but it does last longer. The cooldown scales. The base damage has been increased. What is going on, man? They've increased the W damage, increased the cooldown on E. The slow is a flat slow. It doesn't scale anymore. Sheesh. They've decreased the base damage of E later. Our damage ratio has been increased. They increased the sleep duration. Wait, no, decreased, right? Yeah, they've decreased the sleep duration. I knew I read that wrong. They've decreased the slow, and it no longer increases over the duration. So it's flat 10% slow into sleep. Wow. This looks like a nerf. This just looks like a big nerf. This R change does just straight up look like a nerf to me. Because part of the strength of her R was the sleep duration was really long. But now it's actually like a little weaker, I think. I mean, it does more damage though. I don't know. We'll see if Lilia gets played, but that's kind of a crazy change. It looks like she scales harder. That's what it looks like to me. Malzahar. They have decreased Malzahar's base health and they have decreased his Q damage. Apparently he was strong, I guess. Sure, okay. I never see this champ played, but okay. They've nerfed him. Fair enough. Nocturne has taken a pretty huge hit. He can't heal for full health whenever he procs his passive on minions. This is a big deal for lane Nocturne. This is a really big deal. Because a lot of Nocturne's laning phase sustain was you would just walk into a minion wave and you just auto attack and you'd get a ridiculous amount of sustain, which is not a very fun playstyle to play against. So this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. Like, this is a straight up massive nerf to his lane sustain. So we'll see if that pushes him out of laning phase and more into the jungle. He's actually really OP in the jungle right now, in my opinion. On 11.13. Rek'Sai, they have increased Q1 base damage, and they have increased the Q2 base damage when you're burrowed. So, cool. They've just given Rek'Sai a little bit more damage. Fair enough. Not much to say there. They've increased Seraphine's Q damage. Again, not much to say there. Okay. This champion is starting to come back in the meta, so I'm kind of wondering why they're buffing her. It's a bit strange. Shaco. They've just nerfed Shaco. Cool. Like, I'm not complaining. Holy moly. Thank you. Keep doing that. Take another 340 move speed off him. Just give him 5 move speed. That would be awesome. Tahm Kench. Yeah, I just don't like playing against Shaco. It's just an annoying chap. Tahm Kench. This is like reworked Tahm Kench, by the way. And they again have written a book about this guy. Passive bonus damage now scales. Q now deals passive damage to enemy. Ooh, wait, what? Oh, it applies as passive. His Q actually applies as passive damage now. That's cool. The heal scaling updated. What do they mean by the heal scaling updated? Oh, it scales differently based on the level of the ability? Yeah, okay. Fair enough. The W cooldown refund bug fix. What the hell is that? Fixed a bug where Abyssal Dive's cooldown refund didn't scale down with ability haste. Oh, okay. If you hit someone. If you hit someone, you get reduced cooldown on that. Cooldown and mana cost refund increased. Awesome. Our base shield increased early and the ally self-slow decreased early. So you actually only get slowed for 30 to 20 to 10% instead of 40, 25, 10%. Interesting. And they've given him that's a pretty huge shield. 400 health shield is actually pretty chonky. But again, the problem with Tahm Kench is on support specifically is it takes a while to get your Devour. And when you do get your Devour, it's late. You're level 6 and it takes a while for supports to hit level 6. I still think he's more of like a top laner than a support right now. And the weird part about being a top laner, by the way, is you get to utilize the R shield that much. It's kind of just you have to eat the opponents. I mean, it's fine. I think he's still more of a top laner, but maybe some smart person will find a build to use for Tahm Kench in support. Because I mean, this is a giant shield, and actually they are trying to push him towards support more with these kind of changes. This is all about supporting your team, so. Taric, Q cost decreased, E cost decreased, just straight buffs, cool. Very small minor changes to his mana, but his E mana change is a little nice. He can probably use this to trade a little more effectively. Small changes though, doesn't really make or break the champ, I think. W cooldown for Xin Zhao has been nerfed. Awesome. This ability was up in literally every single fight. It was 6-second cooldown, and then his Q reduces all of his basic abilities by 1 second every single time he hits. And it's a 3-part Q. So it was basically like every 3 seconds he was just queuing you, and it was absolutely disgustingly broken. Absolutely nuts. So I'm really happy they nerfed this guy a little bit, but I don't think this is gonna do it. I actually think he's gonna have to get another round of nerfs next patch. I still think Xin Zhao is gonna be played. Ziggs has been nerfed. His base mana has been nerfed. And yeah, bot lane Ziggs has been towing the line for now. Yeah, when I've played against Ziggs in general, it does feel like he scales too quickly, because there's a point there's a point where you're against Ziggs and you can never push anymore. Like every time you push, there's just no minion wave. He's just gonna one-shot the wave from under his tower while your wave is under your tower, and you can't really do anything about it. So even if you like beat Ziggs in lane, he gets to this point where he's just one-shotting the wave and you can't actually do anything. So I think hopefully this is gonna make his early laning phase harder, because he needs to hit Lost Chapter to be able to spam his abilities. If he doesn't have Lost Chapter, he can't spam his abilities because he's gonna run out of mana. So this is a good nerf, I think. He was hitting his spikes way too early, in my opinion. Deadman's Play has been buffed with 5 armor. Awesome, cool. That's going to change everything. I'm going to always buy this item now. Cool. I'm kidding, of course. I don't think it's going to change that much. Still a rather weird, wonky item to build. Stridebreaker has been changed. They have buffed the damage, nerfed the health. That's a big nerf to the health, by the way. 100 health, holy moly. And they have massively nerfed the slow. Sheesh, bro, that's a big nerf to the slow. Wow. Yeah, I think a lot of champions that were abusing Nocturne is not happy about that. Xin Zhao is probably not happy about that. There's a lot of champs that are not happy about that. That is brutal, man. That is brutal. And VFXs. All right, cool. Ultimate Spellbook is a new game mode. Awesome. Wow, I'm super excited about skipping past this in the patch notes. And that's it. That is the patch. So that is my thoughts on the patch. I personally think after this patch, I think I'm interested to see if Irelia can be played into magic damage matchups. That's kind of interesting to me. I'm interested to see if Akali gets picked anymore, because Akali was almost a blind pick because she could be played in mid and in top lane, and she had really good matchups, or at least decent enough matchups that you could almost blind her. This might actually change that, which is a really big deal. I want to see if Graves comes back, and I want to see if Xin Zhao gets pushed out of the meta slightly. Also, thank God they nerfed Karma, but I don't think this is probably going to stop every single Karma player from playing her. And Nocturne. Nocturne's lane matchups have been severely nerfed because he can't sustain as much. So, a couple of interesting and big changes to a lot of meta champs. So, yeah, it's a big patch. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed watching. And as always, I stream every evening, 8 p.m. I'm streaming right now, so Twitch chat, say hello. Hi guys, and come follow me, you nerds. So cool. Let's play solo queue, guys. Let's do it.